Darwin200 is a planetary conservation initiative that sets out to change the world for the better. The project has 4 key objectives. The first objective is to empower and inspire 200 of the world's brightest young scientists to transform them into global conservation leaders to change the world of tomorrow over the course of their coming careers that'll span 40-50 years. The second objective is to inspire and engage over 200 million people worldwide during the 2-year global voyage by beaming out free daily online resources and activities from the ship to schools right the way around the globe to create the world's most exciting classroom. The third objective is to undertake real professional research into 5 pressing conservation problems, and through interactive citizen science projects, engage with global audiences so we all can better understand how we can help contribute to a better world and mitigate our impacts across the planet. The fourth objective of Darwin200 is to change 500 lives by bringing on 500 young people from underprivileged backgrounds to sail on the ship during different legs of the global voyage to give them new skills, confidence and abilities. In 2020, we undertook the successful 8-week UK voyage and have proven the concepts and tested our systems. We're now ready to begin the global voyage in 2021 to 2023 to help change the world. Darwin200 is very fortunate to have as patrons some of the world's top conservationists and environmentalists. We're very lucky to have Dr. Jane Goodall and Dr. Sylvia Earle as patrons, and Dr. Sarah Darwin as a key supporter of the project. Dr. Sarah Darwin is directly descended from Charles Darwin. She's Charles's great-great-granddaughter. The Darwin200 project uses a spectacular tool ship. We're sailing this ship around the world following HMS Beagle. The point of this isn't to dress up as Charles Darwin or to recreate the voyage of the Beagle, but to use the ship as a symbol. Tool ships are spectacular. They excite curiosity. They're a symbol of adventure, science and discovery. And that's exactly how we're going to use our tool ship, sailing around the world in the wake of Charles Darwin, into every single port that he made landfall. During our UK voyage, we noticed how people gravitate to the ship in ports, wanting to know what it's about and how they can be involved. And so we're going to use our ship as a vehicle to engage audiences right the way around the globe. Our route follows the journey of HMS Beagle, although the itinerary is slightly simplified as HMS Beagle backtracks several times. To fulfill our first objective, we're going to select the world's top 200 young conservationists, one from each of 200 countries and states around the world. In groups of 4, we're going to bring them to the 50 points along our itinerary where Charles Darwin made landfall. 50 times 4 equals 200, so these are our 200 Darwin leaders. Each Darwin leader is aged between 18 to 25. It might be a young person in Ethiopia that's planted 1,000 trees to stop soil erosion around their village, or someone in Papua New Guinea that's planted trees to create habitat to bring back native wildlife. It doesn't even matter whether they can read or write. What we're looking for is the raw flame that burns within them to help conservation efforts and save nature and change the worlds in which they live. The Darwin leaders will be transported to our ship in groups of 4 at a time into one of the 50 ports or points of landfall that Darwin explored on shore. Working with local NGO partners, before they arrive, they have to select a subject that Charles Darwin studied. When they arrive, they have to use the ship as a floating laboratory and media platform, and guided by some of the world's top conservationists, they have to study an animal or plant that Charles Darwin studied during the voyage of the Beagle. In virtually every single case, there's been a negative impact since the times of Charles Darwin. They have to look at that impact, understand the change that's taken place, and put forward real solutions to help mitigate that change for the future. Now, we're not expecting them to solve the world's problems during their short stay, but what we are expecting is that these Darwin leaders leave the ship with new training, skills and insight, having been advised and trained by some of the world's top conservationists, to take forward that understanding and expertise and put it in place over the coming decades of their careers. Whilst completing their projects, each Darwin leader has a very clear goal. In addition to understanding the problems that their animal or plant faces, they have to communicate their findings to an audience of at least 1 million people worldwide during their placements. They'll achieve this by beaming out live interactive question and answer sessions, lectures, vlogs, blogs, and countless social media posts on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and YouTube to engage with new audiences. Each Darwin leader will have so much content to relay, and with all the publicity that accompanies the Darwin200 global voyage, we believe they can easily achieve their goal of reaching 1 million people during the course of their placements. As there's 200 Darwin leaders, our goal is to reach 200 million people through the Darwin leaders alone. The second objective is to inspire and engage another 200 million people worldwide by creating the world's most exciting classroom. We're going to use the ship as a floating laboratory, beaming out interactive projects every single day into schools right the way around the globe. This is competitions, essays, experiments and citizen science projects that anyone worldwide can take part in. We're going to run a series of wonderful competitions that stimulate students' interests and engage teachers right the way around the planet. These are just a few of the interactive projects that we're going to undertake, including live experiments, essay competitions, research activities, interactive interviews, lectures, daily documentaries, and competitions every single day of the Darwin200 global voyage. By plugging into the networks of our NGO partners and conservation celebrities, we believe we can easily reach 200 million people throughout the course of this voyage. We already know these methods work. The Hansen Box project engages millions of students at thousands of schools in several countries by providing free resources and activities. And that's exactly what we're going to achieve with Darwin200 on a global scale through creating the world's most exciting classroom. The third objective of Darwin200 is to undertake professional research projects in 5 different areas, undertaking global coral reef studies, habitat surveys, global plastic trawls, whales and dolphin surveys right the way around the world, and several pollution solutions projects looking at how to solve real-world pollution problems with new technology. We're bringing on PhD students to undertake and lead these projects and to engage global audiences by streaming data live for people right the way around the world to become involved in analysing, contributing findings and interpreting. The goal here is to showcase these problems and to help solve some of these issues by educating global audiences, by beaming out solutions to millions of people worldwide. The Darwin200 global voyage will be carbon neutral. We're going to plant at least 1,000 trees in the Atlantic rainforests of Brazil. Charles Darwin was in absolute awe of the Atlantic rainforests and their wildlife, although sadly so much of these beautiful forests have since been destroyed over the last 200 years and have a net positive carbon impact on the world. In preparation for the Darwin200 global voyage, we've already undertaken a 7-week journey around the UK in the spectacular tour ship Pelican of London. We specifically wanted to test our systems to prepare for the global voyage and learn what works, what we get right, what we get wrong, and what we can improve, ready for our global journey. During our 7-week UK voyage, we took on board 35 young sailors and 10 young scientists in partnership with the University of Plymouth. The young scientists of our UK voyage undertook 10 research projects to contribute to the UK Ocean Health Check. We've studied macroplastics, microplastics, water pollution levels, pH levels, marine surveys, wind measurements, and many other projects, streamed live from the ship in different ways, with content going out regularly throughout the voyage. We've also undertaken 5 live lectures, one from the Isle of Lewis amongst the ancient standing stone circles, and one from Bass Rock with 150,000 gannets, and 3 more, each with our patrons and supporters, Sarah Darwin, Sylvia Earle and Jane Goodall. We've beamed these lectures live into classrooms right the way around the world, as well as 40 pieces in newspapers, magazines and broadcasts on television, and 10 science research films. All of these are available at Darwin200.com. They've already amassed hundreds of thousands of views, proving the concepts that we wish to achieve during the Darwin200 global voyage. Here are a few shots of our UK voyage. The Pelican of London, our ship. This is in Cardiff with some of our key partners and sponsors of the UK voyage. A few of the young scientists and trainee sailors up in the rigging having the time of their lives. This is one of the Darwin200 UK dive team undertaking a plastic survey on the seabed, and one of the young scientists studying plastic microparticles in UK waters. One of the highlights of the UK trip was visiting Bass Rock near Edinburgh, where the young scientists and sailors managed to explore the rock in partnership with the Scottish Seabird Centre to see 150,000 gannets up close. And just imagine how exciting it was for them, undertaking observations and research amongst this wealth of wildlife. This offers a glimmer of the potential of the global voyage, with giant tortoises, marine iguanas and whale sharks, all in different locations along our voyage. The young scientists loved studying marine specimens brought up by the Darwin200 dive team. Of course, we always put them back exactly where we found them. This is one of our live lectures, beamed live from Bass Rock to schools right the way across the globe, in partnership with Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. The 5 live lectures that we undertook went extremely well, and we had schools tuning in from Canada, US, India, China, UK, and many other countries. And we want to expand this during the global voyage with Nature Hours. Once a week for 100 weeks, we're going to beam live from the ship with different projects which will all be part of creating the world's most exciting classroom that will stream from the ship into schools right the way across the globe. We'll have about 20 of these Nature Hour films already pre-recorded, so that in case of bad weather, the show will go on. Here's a few shots of just some of the wildlife and research projects that the young scientists undertook during the UK voyage. The opportunities during the global voyage for research and outreach are almost unlimited. The UK voyage climaxed with our ship sailing underneath Tower Bridge in central London. We had massive crowds watching and great publicity for the project, as it was broadcast on several news channels, including Sky. The 4th objective of Darwin200 really came out of the UK voyage. We had such a positive experience with the young sailors on our Darwin200 UK voyage that we've set the goal of changing 500 young lives. The 200 Darwin leaders that we're going to train, empower and transform into the conservation leaders of tomorrow come into the ports along our itinerary. Currently, the ship sails empty between those ports, so we would like to bring on 500 underprivileged people from countries around the world to train and empower and give transferable skills to help give them brighter futures and transform them into scientists, conservationists and professionals. As a planetary conservation initiative, Darwin200's 4 goals are to train, inspire and empower the world's very best 200 young scientists to transform them into conservation leaders to change the world of tomorrow. Each of these 200 leaders will reach 1 million people during their projects on the Darwin200 ship to reach out to 200 million people worldwide. Secondly, we're going to create the world's most exciting classroom to beam out live interactive projects right the way around the globe into classrooms to engage with students and teachers. And our goal is to reach another 200 million people through these outreach activities. We're also going to undertake 5 professional research projects and engage global audiences into solving these problems and mitigating our impacts to create a better future for our planet. And lastly, we want to change 500 underprivileged lives by giving those 500 young people transferable skills and a brighter future. Become part of Darwin200 and change the world. Visit www.darwin200.com or email info@darwin200.com for details.